What's up, y'all? This is Hammer here again, back with another video. And today I'm going to be talking about this sort of growing movement that I've been seeing, specifically amongst Black Americans and Black voters here in the United States, in which there has been really this immense pressure and push to vote for Donald Trump. We need to go out here and vote for Trump. So I've been seeing more and more of that amongst Black Americans and Black voters, right? And what I want to do in this video is sort of give you guys my point of view on that. And I think why I personally believe, that's just not the answer, right? Let me just start off by saying this, okay? This video is not about trying to push vote blue no matter who, because I already know what y'all gonna say in the chat. Oh well, Hammer, you just want to get us to vote Democrat. Look, I don't care either way, right? Both Democrats and Republicans are controlled by states' interests and the interest of the economy. So there's really not much of a difference, right? But nevertheless, this is not me trying to say, oh, just vote for Biden. No. What I'm trying to say is that a lot of Black Americans who are now pushing for Trump, they need to understand why it's a bad idea, and they need to understand that, hey, if you are going to go on this path, you need to do a certain way. Let me just start by saying this, okay? I began my political journey, my political life, really from the right. Right, I would say most Black Americans in the United States, I think most of their political journeys began from the Democratic Party. Me was from Republicans. I actually started off with the GOP. I supported Donald Trump in 2016, right? For the most part. So trust me, I know the white right very well. And here's what Black Americans and Black voters need to fundamentally understand, okay? When it comes to the white right and when it comes to that voting base, right? There are two things you need to understand. Number one, the only thing that they're concerned about, the only thing that the white conservatives are concerned about conserving is conserving Black people's position as the permanent underclass. Number one. And number two, the only thing they support when it comes to you is they support your right to vote for them. See, when I went to the Republican Party, I started off right. I went in there because for me, at the time, they were pushing a lot of traditional values, specifically when it came to the opposition to gay marriage. So that's why I went, pro GOP, pro Trump. But what I started to realize is that as time went on, they were essentially adjusting most of the policies. So they largely let go of the gay marriage fight. They largely let go of other issues, right? It seemed like the only issue that Republicans were holding on to was abortion. But I came to realize that once again, that's only because that had to do with white birth rates and whiteness, which proves the first point. The only thing they think about conserving is maintaining Black people's positions per class. So all things that are proxy to that, including maintaining high birth rates, are going to prioritize. So what I've come to realize that they're not necessarily conservative more. Is it just that many of them, I will say the GOP are just racist liberals. They believe in the democracy. They believe in all the tenets Democrats do. The only difference is that they just don't want the niggas here, right? And so they're willing to kind of break the rules, change the rules, take much more conservative, harsher positions in many ways just to keep the niggas at bay, right? Because if it wasn't for that, they will be just along, go on the same path that the white liberals is going through. That's the reason why they let LGBT in so easily, right? For the most part. So you have to keep that in mind. So if you're a Black American who's a Black voter who's voting for the GOP and voting for Trump because you want conservative values, let me stop you right there. Whatever conservative values you're pushing for, the Republican Party is probably going to flip on that elections from that. For example, this whole trans that's happening. I can promise you right now that 2 election cycles from now, Republicans essentially, in my opinion, they're always 2 election cycles behind Democrats. So I would say 2 election cycles from now, they'll probably be more likely more accepting of trans, right? But they'll still be anti-Black. That's the motto, right? Because once again, there's just racist liberals. They believe in all the tenets of democracy, freedom. It's just that when it comes to the niggers, to the Negroes, all of a sudden now they want to cluster. That's the only thing that really drives a conservative position. Even though such an over, I will say abortion. I'm like, is there evangelical influence? Yes, but a lot of it is because of our white birth rates. Why? Because we got to keep the niggers under control. So I will say the moment you remove black, the threat, the sort of black boogeyman from the conversation, you notice that a lot of white conservatives, their views are very similar to those on the left, the white left, right? So if you're voting for Trump or the GOP for conservative values, I'm telling you right now, the only thing they believe in conserving is black people, the permanent underclass, right? And number two, if you're voting because you think Republicans are going to give you something, let me tell you something right now, right? Due to the fact that, like I said before, the only thing that they believe in conserving is you and the permanent underclass, they will die before they give you anything. Like, if you think Democrats are not giving you anything, Republicans will definitely not give you anything. The only thing Republicans will support when it comes to black voters is they'll support your right to vote for them. That's it. That's what they'll support, right? If you want to support the party, it's fine, but that's about it, right? And I think that's the reason why, for me, I don't understand why, especially it's mostly the FBAs and ADOS. Now, let me get very clear for those who don't understand. FBA ADOS is a specific, group of black Americans online who are advocating for, reparations. However, I don't really support them because many of them are sort of I will say, espouse the same, white supremacist rhetoric that they accuse white people of saying. And many of them are pushing a lot of, falsehoods like, black Americans, Native Americans, the slave trade never happened, right? So I want to make it very clear. There's a difference between the FBA ADOS and the black American. The average black American, I think, understands basic history, but the FBA ADOS, they the Cherokee Indians, they want to be everything but black. Or black African, if you want more specific, right? So I support reparations, but the FBAs are just out of control. Which, of course, once again, these are subgroup within black Americans, right? So black Americans who are not FBA ADOS, I have no problem with. But nevertheless, that's why they have this group, FBA ADOS, have been really pushing for this. And my thing is, look, you guys do realize that Republicans will never give you reparations, right? Like, the Democrats, they're at least willing to talk about it. Republicans won't even bring it up. Like, they're trying to pass laws to actually prohibit states from even considering that. They're thinking about this already. So for you to think that, hey, I can't get enough from the Democrats, right? So I'm going to go to Republicans, that's a waste of time. See, look. Here's the situation that black Americans are fundamentally in, okay? The Republican Party doesn't want your vote, and the Democratic Party hates the fact they need your vote. This is the issue, okay? So the GOP, they will allow anybody in but you, right? Because they fundamentally don't want your vote. They'll let the gays in. They'll let immigrants in. They'll let trans in. They'll let everybody in. The moment you show up, no, nigga, go out of here. That's the one group that they won't really let in. I'm like, during the Republican, right, during the GOP presidential debate, they literally, I think, were answering questions in regards to the Hispanic population. Now, based on, remember, I believe, they had some representative, right, from, I think it was Telemundo, I believe. It was some. They had a representative from some Spanish channel, and the person was asking. I'm like, this what I'm talking about. They will open the door to other groups. Let a black America come through. No, nigga. Unless you are willing to just unless you're willing to grovel like Tim Scott, they won't let you in like that. So that's what the GOP is on. Now, with the Democrats, they understand that because most white people vote Republican, right, they have to create minority coalitions with the minority whites in order to get stuff through. And unfortunately for them, that means they need black American voters because black American voters tend to be, go out there in large numbers. But here's the issue. They also don't really want your vote. They also don't want to give you anything. The only difference is that, unlike the Republicans who don't need your vote and don't want it, Democrats don't want your vote, but they need it. So the white liberals try to extract as much as they can while giving the smallest they possibly can, right? And so they've been doing this for a very long time. And so I understand when it comes to Black Americans, you see Democrats open the door, rolling the red carpet for Asians, all them groups, but then you come through and they're like, we gotta share. Right? I mean, look at Chicago, right? They've been asking, Black Americans in Chicago have been asking for resources and help for a long time. But then all of a sudden, illegals come through and it's like money appears out of nowhere. I get it. But what I'm saying is that voting for Donald Trump is not going to really fix anything. Right? I will say for Black Americans, the best political strategy you have is just find ways to leverage, things against Democratic Party, because at least the Democratic Party, they at least still need your vote. Right? Now, they are trying to bring in, a lot of illegal immigrants, a lot of migrants to sort of replace you. Right? But here's the thing, right? I personally believe that even that, in my opinion, is a risky play. Because there is a possibility that these illegal migrants, once they get the immigration stuff from the Democrats, they'll just vote Republican. So that's a possibility too. But nevertheless, they're still going full force ahead. My thing is, you're better off trying to leverage, trying to force Democrats to give you something while they still need your vote, compared to going to a party that doesn't even want your vote, doesn't even need your vote. And if you want to vote for them, fine, but they make it very clear that we're not giving you anything. Like, what has Donald Trump actually promised Black Americans? Nothing. And trust and believe that because of the Republican Party's new obsession with DEI and critical race theory, Donald Trump is not gonna do anything serious for y'all, because if he even mentions black, he's gonna have thousands of white folks saying this is reverse racism, this is woke. So come on, we gotta be honest here, right? I believe the issue that Black Americans have is that, because of the unique situation that Black Americans, Black voters are in this country, there is, Black people in general don't have the power and the resources to actually leverage anything, right? Like, the reason why the LGBT, the Asians, can get stuff through, despite them not having a large population, is largely because they have the resources, they were organized, right? I'm going to give you an example. If you were going to the Trump, the only situation that would happen is if you had super PACs or institutions that went to Trump, hey, we'll offer you money, we'll do this, right? And you got Trump to make concessions, make agreements behind closed doors, he would do certain things. Then you could go and spend money and campaigning for Trump, right? Because you already have him in your back pocket. Same Democrats, right? What you don't do is you go to someone who you're not providing any funds to. You don't have any special group representing you and representing your interests with that candidate. All you're simply doing is, hey, I'm just gonna go vote for Trump. It is what it is. That's dumb. Because they'll say, yeah, thank you for your vote, but that's about it. Because what they're going to prioritize is fulfilling the interests of the people who actually funded the campaign. They're the special interest groups. Not the folks who just vote for them. Yeah, they'll appreciate the vote, but that's about it. And I think that's the thing that I think Black Americans said, look, that's the reason why, the situation with Democrats is failing. Because the reality is that at the current moment, they're the only party that will even listen to you. Have you seen any Republicans that even talk about even reparations? Even try to even do any sort of task force? Have you? Anything like on a state level? No. I've still saw in California, I saw in New York. Now, of course, in the end, they're not going to do anything with it. But the point of the fact that Democrats are even willing to talk about it, right, means that they, once again, means how much they still need us as a voting base. Even if in the end they don't do anything, the fact they even bring it up is significant. Because the Republicans, they'll shut that shit down and say that, hey, the reality is Black people benefited from slavery. So, come on, we gotta be honest. So, my personal opinion is that when it comes to Black voters, it is probably better for the group, to just not vote at all, right? And look, don't get it twisted. When it comes to Look, don't get it twisted. When it comes to Biden, like Joe Biden has been a horrible president. Joe Biden, got us into a war in Ukraine. Joe Biden, is essentially on the verge of lighting up the Middle East because of how he wants to endlessly support Israel. Joe Biden essentially, just has broken every promise when it comes to Black America. So I get it. He's not a good leader. My thing is that even though I understand the frustration, Black Americans, you will get way more if you try to find ways to actually leverage your leverage when it comes to Democratic Party. The problem is you don't have that. The institutions you do have, like NAACP and other kind of stuff, have largely been captured. Right, your political leaders have been captured. The Black Caucus have been captured. So you don't really have anyone like that. What you really need to have, what Black Americans really need is an AIPAC. It's a Black version of AIPAC. If you're able to create a Black version of AIPAC, this institution that can essentially go out here and put money in the pockets of politicians, by politicians, then you will be able to ensure that all the politicians that essentially run for the Congress or run for public office are already in your back pocket. You will ensure that things get done for you, right? And because the Democratic Party needs your vote, that gives you more leverage. So in other words, you will essentially have the politicians in your back pocket, and you will have leverage with them in regards to the fact that they need your vote. Both those things together will allow you to get what you want from the Democratic Party, right? But the fundamental issue is that this goes back to the consequence of being a permanent underclass. Because Black Americans have been undermined so much historically, they don't have any wealth. And see, this is I think what the main argument for reparation, which I support, right? That look, Black Americans can't even organize properly politically because once again, they don't have the wealth. That's how much they've been disenfranchised. Because for them to really be able to make the moves needed like that, and it's just kind of really to do what AIPAC is doing, they would need serious money, which they don't have. So they have to rely on, persuasion, marches, voting, which can only take you so far. And that's the reason why it goes Republican. If persuasion, if political leverage in regards to voting, if all of those things did not get Democrats to give you what you want, what the hell makes you think that the Republicans who literally don't need your vote are going to give you something? This is political malpractice, in my opinion, right? It's political malpractice, and I think it fundamentally needs to stop, right? By the end of the day, look, I sympathize, right? I sympathize with Black Americans. I sympathize with where they're going, where they're coming from. By the end of the day, look, we have to bring ourselves back down to reality. And also, this brings back to another point too, because another argument that I've been hearing from Black Americans in regards to why, look, I'm saying this as somebody who was I will say a former Trump supporter. So I know the appeal. I'm just letting you know, as someone who came from the white right, what you're going to see in the white right. And the reason why it's not going to work out for you. And why, despite all the issues, you have better chance getting something with the Democratic Party than the Republican Party. But nevertheless, something I've heard consistently in regards from Black Americans is the whole notion of the migrants, right? Which I have no, look, I get it. I too have submissions too. My only thing is that I personally don't care, because look, white Americans are not going to be able to go around the world, destabilize the world, destabilize South America, and then cry when folks are showing the border. So for me, I personally, I see the migration from South America really as a consequence of America's foreign policy in South America, right? But to answer the question, all the Black Americans who are essentially pushing to vote for Trump because of the promise that Trump will somehow be able to stop illegal migration, notice there were caravans that happened when Trump was in power. Trump didn't build any wall when he was in power, right? Because here's what you ought to understand. Even if Trump gets back into office, the issue won't stop. What is driving migration? Right, the reason why migrants are really coming here, right? I will say it's three things, right? One is U.S. foreign policy. Two is business interests, and three is states' interests. And I'll break it out for you. One, U.S. foreign policy. The United States has stabilized South America and destabilized the world to just immense amount of ways, right? And so because of this, these people are migrants with the United States. Two, states business interests, right? When it comes to businesses, okay, businesses essentially, right, it is in their interest to essentially have, a cheap labor force. And due to the fact that, America's demographics population is declining, for most part, right? This essentially, first of all, the business class, they need a cheap labor force and a strong consumer force, right? And the declining American population threatens that. So having these migrants come here allows to have what? They can have cheap labor and a strong consumer force too. Then when it comes to the state, right, they need a strong labor force and they need people to work, within the bureaucracy and to be sent to the military. Right, and that also needs a strong population. So because America's population is declining, they also need migrants. In order for them to be a strong labor force, in order for them to be a strong tax base, in order for them to be workers that can fill the bureaucracy, and in order for them to be able to fill up the ranks when it comes to the military. So what you have is an intersection between America's imperialistic policies overseas, states' interests, business interests, all intersecting at once. And all of this, and this perfect intersection is what's pulling all these migrants here and allowing them to literally, jump officers in New York and literally get let out on bail. Let out without bail, I believe. It's crazy. Based on what I recall. So, it is what it is. So notice that even if and by the way, guys, you have to understand the Republican Party, they essentially look, because states' interests, business interests, and America's foreign policies is all interconnected on this, right? That means that both parties, in many ways, if you want to be honest with you, right, they're all in it too in many ways because they have to, right? When it comes to Democratic Party, right, they're bought out by the business class, and they're also going to serve the state, the interests of the state. So all of this, of course, pushes for them to facilitate migration. Republicans are also bought out by the business class, and they also support the interest of the state. The only difference is that because they have a certain voter base, right, they have to be much more strategic about how they go about doing this, right? So instead, they will try to pander or try to, make it into a political issue. But then when they get into office, they don't really do anything because once again, they are operating by business. They're operating on their business interests and states' interests, right? Notice how, despite all the rhetoric that Republicans do about illegal immigration, Republicans never go after corporations. Haven't you noticed that? Like, if you really want to stop illegal immigration, right, all you would have to do is fine and essentially prosecute corporations. But they don't do that. They let business off the hook. So what I tell you, right, that means it's politicking from the GOP, because many of the major, donors of the Republican Party, like for example, the Koch brothers, are pro-migration, right? This is the manipulation I'm talking about. When folks don't understand what's happening politically, right? They're out here making decisions without any context and without any knowledge, which I call political malpractice. And now see, it wasn't bad enough that FBA ADOS movement essentially cut off diaspora. Now they essentially want to lead Black Americans down off a cliff with Trump. We gotta be honest about this concept, right? But yeah, so don't get it twisted, right? And there's a reason why, despite all the rhetoric, despite, even with the standoff with Texas and Biden, I promise you, If Trump gets office, you're still going to see caravans. You're still going to see migrants. And most importantly, the GOP, despite all the tough rhetoric, are not going to go after the corporations. They're going to just, magically ignore the corporations and magically, let them stay in the country. Come on. Because at the end of the day, business interests tie into the economy. States' interests, of course, tie into the nation. Those interests, in my opinion, supersede all the things. That's the reason why it doesn't matter what is Democrat, Republican, right? When they get into office, they have to operate under business interests. They have the conservative interest, which is the economy, and states' interests, which is the states, which is the nations, right? And because the business interests and the state interests have intersected on this issue, despite all the politicking that goes on, right, nothing really changes, right? The flow keeps coming. They still allow them to come through. And also keep in mind that a lot of Republicans, right, deep down, many of them believe that the migrants, right, that the migrants, once they get citizenship, will vote Republican, which I would say it's a good guess. So as much as they love to accuse Democrats of trying to quote-unquote import new voters, many Republicans also believe that those migrants could also be new voters for them as well. So we gotta be honest here. But with that being said, I think I've given a thorough enough analysis in regards to, this rhetoric I've been seeing from Black Americans talking about we gotta vote for Trump. Right, I hope I think I'm doing a good job of the back of that. But I think, what else can I say? I think that's really all that comes to mind. And also, keep in mind, look, Donald Trump is a businessman. Like, let me ask you a question. Do you really believe that Donald Trump is against cheap labor? Do you really believe that? If Donald Trump's business, if Donald Trump had the opportunity to hire cheap labor and reduce the labor costs for his business, do you guys really believe he'll be against that? Like, man, that's crazy to me. But it's crazy, right? It's crazy to me. All this is politicking. But the reality is that when the campaign is over, when the politicking is over, and they step into those offices, right, they have to operate and consider business interests, which is the economy, and states' interests, which is the nation. And those things will supersede all the politicking that goes on. Now, of course, when the election come back, right, they'll go back to, Republicans will go back screaming about, we gotta build the wall. We gotta stop migration, right? Democrat will go back talking about, oh my God, we gotta bring, migrants. They'll do all the politicking. But once again, business interests, states' interests are going to prevail. And in this situation, with regards to migration, it's really America's foreign policy, business interests, and states' interests, right? But so all the Black Americans who are pushing for Trump, I want you to fundamentally understand, okay? The conservatives, the white conservatives, the only thing they believe in conserving is Black people remaining as a permanent underclass. And number two, if you're voting for Republicans and Trump, the only thing they want from you is they want you to have the right to vote for them. That's it. Right? They support you voting for them. They support you having the right to vote for them. But outside of that, they'll just tell you to go to the back of the line. It is what it is. I'll leave it there, but before I let you go, you guys tell me what you guys think, in the chat, and we'll see how things go. But look, I'm just overall fundamentally tired of the rhetoric, because I've been seeing. Look, you got CD Hip Hop Media, shout out to the brother. You have Philip Scott. You have a lot of a lot of Black Americans who, in my opinion, unfortunately, are politically literate. They don't understand the political game. They don't understand that, hey, you may hate both parties. You may feel like both parties are two sides of the same coin. But at the end of the day, as long as you live in America, you have to operate into the system. And the system is essentially a two-party system. So whether you like it or not, now if you want to sit at the table, if you want to participate, you have to pick a side. There's no other way. That's how it's set up. And my thing is that, when I look at it, the best side for Black America is Democrat. There's not a vote for blue no matter who. You can stay home and not vote Biden. But the reality is that I'm not going to come here and essentially give you all these fairy tales. The best political party, the only political party in this country in which you can even remotely think about getting stuff from is Democrats. The only problem is that because unfortunately Black America is our permanent underclass, right? Outside of the voting, they don't really have the resources to really apply pressure and really, get what they want. If they did, they would get more, right? Right, but see, even with them only having the vote, they're still getting more from Democrat than anything else, right? But once again, you may feel betrayed by the fact that California and New York essentially doing studies, but understand that the other side, they're not even going to talk about reparations. They're just going to call you a nigger and push you out the room. So we gotta be up elsewhere, right? Instead of you trying to get a party of people that don't want you don't want you there, try and find ways to increase leverage and get more concessions from the party that at least for now still needs your vote. That's what I will say. So all of these folks talking about we need to vote for Trump. No. What you need to do is be more politically savvy, be much more strategic about how you leverage your vote, and much more smart about how you get what you want. Organize better, right? Be the Black version of AIPAC. When you become the Black version of AIPAC, you won't have to worry about them Democrats not fully it, because you would have been well organized enough to ensure you get what you want. And you'll have the resources to of course facilitate that. So yeah, that's what it's so what I would tell Black Americans, once again, that's your best option. You're better off, focusing on the least, leveraging what you can from the Democratic Party while you still have your leverage, while it's need you for your vote. You're better off doing that and working on that and improving your strategy on that than trying to go for a party that doesn't even want your vote. And the only thing they want is to keep it a permanent underclass and for you to vote for them. That's it, right? They don't need your vote and don't want either, right? Now Democrats don't want your vote, but they need your vote. That's different, right? So maybe we gotta keep it real. With that being said, I think that should be about it. Nothing else coming to mind. I'll close it off. Before I go, one more thing, guys. Look, once again, this is not a vote no matter blue switch thing. Look, I will say most Black Americans, you're better off just not even voting for at all, just staying home when it comes to Joe Biden. But what I'm saying is that I'm tired of people being politically, incompetent, right? Instead of you running to a party that doesn't need your vote, no want your vote, doesn't want to give you anything, you should focus on the party that at least still needs your vote. Even if they don't want your vote, they still need your vote, and leverage on that. Create more pressure. Find better ways to organize and to put more pressure on that party that still needs your vote as of now, and get stuff out of that, right? You're better off doing that than trying to run to the GOP or voting for Trump. Anyway, that should be about it. Tell me what you guys think in the chat. If you guys agree, with that being said, like, share, subscribe, hammer out.